What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? This your man Luke 1817. We back in the studio one more time. Right down here with WPMM Radio. Make sure I'm on. Okay, yeah, I'm on. So last time I noticed that my voice wasn't always being picked up in the video, so I'm gonna try to stay more like in the mic, type thing. Uh, so yeah, how's everybody doing today? Me myself, it's been a long day. Been working hard. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to get from yesterday through today, and then make it through tomorrow as well. So I feel your pain, everybody out there. And as you can see, the title says we're going to be taking a brief discussion into everyday concepts. Okay. And I had a little bit more to that title, but it wouldn't let me put it in there, so I had to kind of shorten it down. So that's what we left with. But first, I want to start off by, thanking the Most High, allowing us to have this opportunity to come back together again, to discuss different understandings and, kind of make sense of what we see every day. The things that we're looking at, the world we've grown accustomed to, and just kind of put this thing in order for ourselves so that we can see the picture of what's going on very clearly. Again, I'm Luke 1817. For those of you that may not know me, I do take pride and honor in like studying, discussing, and bringing different perspectives to the forefront that a lot of people don't really utilize. Like they don't really think that way. You know what I'm saying? And it is important for us to understand how these different arenas that we play in have been serving us through negative means. And I know last week we talked about negative versus positivity and what that means, but through means that are actually divisive and negative against our people and who we are naturally. So much so to the point that we have grown to a place of feeling as if though we have to fit in with the current normal construct of society. And we also utilize society as if it isn't built off of us. And I think that both of these things are absolute disservice to who we are as a people. And it is definitely a spit and a slap in the face to our ancestry and to our history, this world that we're living in now, especially when it comes to the American continent, North American continent. Okay, so I talk, I tell my side of the story or what I think, and how I see things, and I feel honored that people actually value my opinion enough to pay attention, to listen, and tune in, and help me spread this, you know what I'm saying? We're all going through things every day. We're realizing who certain people are in our lives and where to put them and where to keep them. We're meeting a lot of people that we thought we knew. We're meeting them for the first time, the second time, and realizing that, maybe this person really is not for me. They're really not my cup of tea. Maybe they can't shake old habits. Maybe they still doing the same old stuff looking for a different outcome. You know what I mean? Or maybe they're bringing to you their karma from what they've created in the world, and they're used to dumping that out. And now you're able to see them where before you took them as a friend or as a lover or whatever. We're going through a lot of changes rapidly in this time. And I know that the normalcy of life that we experience every day will dull our senses to how the spirit is moving around us and through us and for us. It will dull you to the point where conversations like this are now boring and mundane, and they don't edify me, or edify the soul for the person that's listening or tuning in. That is all by design. And until we realize the design of the system, of the game that's happening around us, we're always going to become a victim to it. Doesn't matter what walk of life you're in, you're still a victim to the same game. If If you're operating through a public means, you're a victim of the same game. If you're operating in commerce, you're a victim of the same game. If you're operating in religion, you're a victim of the same game. If you're utilizing the certain words like black and Negro, you're a victim of the same game. You see, it's not something that is so far-fetched that it can't be real, or it's intangible, or all of these different predications that we put on top of ourselves. See, we as a people, we have grown to like to chop things up all the time, you know. When I'm in the school board, I work for the school board, so I'm only talking about education. Education has nothing to do with spirituality because it's education, straight down the line education. These things don't overlap, but they do. They all do. There's nothing that is created without the predication of spirit. You just have to find it. You know what I'm saying? So we're dealing in a world where those that wish to destroy have become the supposed most powerful, and they're ruling the world in a certain way and using money to control a lot of different nations, and the concepts of money and the concepts of success and richness and what that means. And they're using these concepts to control people, by understanding psychology, by understanding how the mind of the human will work given certain scenarios and environments that have been created on a grand scale, And there are movies that talk about this. Jim Carrey made a movie called The Truman Show. In The Truman Show, he was living inside of a world that he did not know was fake. He didn't even know he was on a movie set. He thought he was really living his life, not understanding that he was involved in a game. He didn't understand until the end. He had to find the door to exit into the darkness. He had to go in through the darkness. We talked about this last time. The answers are in the dark. They're not in the light. The illumination is the trick. You see, to be illuminated, that's the trick. The answers are in the darkness. And we're going to talk about that, as we continue on. But today, I have a book for y'all today. You know what I'm saying? Because books are important. And the older the material, I'm going to say this because especially the vintage books, antique books, things like this, the older the material, especially when it comes to scholastic means, the more truthful the information will be. See, we're just now coming into a time where our people, especially the youth, have a deep desire and a deep knowledge or a deep thirst to want to know about how the systems operate and how I can use those systems to help elevate my life. If I want to get a Hellcat Challenger, how do I go get that? What do I need to go get that? What are the banks looking for in order for me to be qualified to be able to walk away with the keys to that car? You know what I mean? This is how a lot of our younger generation is thinking now. What do I need to do? You see? So because they're beginning to think this way, now their world is being digitized, because keeping them away from the knowledge of what's in these, or controlling how the knowledge is utilized or spread around, is important in the coming days. There's a lot of knowledge hidden in these. You got to go find it and put it together, you see? But when you digitize your child's world and they don't know to go down to the local library, those are being eliminated. They don't know to go down to the archives down at the Fed, go down to the archives and go read the information. Go into your local statutes and code books and go read the information. This is not where our children are being pushed into. They're being pushed into a digital world where somebody else has control of the books that are even allowed to be seen in the first place. You see? So it is important that we take time to utilize the old information, because for our children and our children's children, that is going to be a diminishing pool. Okay. Now, So this book is called, and it's a series now. So this is just one of the 3-part series. It's not very long. As you can see, it's not very thick, but the information in here is absolutely profound. And I think that in most people reading these type of books, you're going to begin to see your life perspective change around you. The book title is the Common Law Handbook for Jurors, Sheriffs, Bailiffs, and Justices. This is for judges. Okay. Now, they have to operate under a common law jurisdiction only on certain levels of the government. Okay. When you come down to a state and local level, they are not operating under a common law jurisdiction. We're going to have to break all this down because this is definitely predicated from what seems positive actually being used as a negative thing, from agendas that have been set in place and in motion and still continuing to this day, and utilizing the pen as a form or a means of genocide. Okay, this is also falling under the guise of separate languages. Okay, we talked about English language, which English is used to commit to pull a certain nation into the commercial realm. That is why English was created. Okay, so the language of lawyers, judges, mayors, politicians is what's called legalese. It is a completely separate language based upon and predicated upon primarily contractual law. Okay, so how you use legalese is going to predicate a lot of your contracts. It is your job to gain understanding of the languages that are being used around you. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Ignorance of the means and methods of the law is also not an excuse. That's on you. So if you won't take the time to learn legalese or understand how the game is being played when you walk into a courtroom, and you don't even have to walk into a courtroom for this to be implemented into your life, and we're going to explain this. Okay. So there are a few key points here before we actually go into some of the meat of the book to explain this that I want to read to y'all because they are very, very important. Okay. The first one was written by a man named William Penn. And William Penn said this, verbatim quote, "Men must be governed by God or they will be ruled by tyrants." Look at America right now. It's the duty of jurors, sheriffs, bailiffs, and justices to resist all infringements upon the rights of the people without delay. They are supposed to stand against the infringement of your natural rights without delay. They should never be the ones that are violating your constitutional common law rights. It is their job to uphold those rights. Thomas Jefferson said, whenever people are well informed, not ignorant, whenever people are well informed, they can be trusted with their own government. You see? So when people know, are understood, are able to learn about what's going on, now there's an innate trust that you have for the government agency because you're well informed. Are we well informed? No. What do we say about agendas and the design of an agenda? The school system that we put so much faith in for our children to be well informed, only to grow up and become adults to realize that we've never been well informed. So we never trust our government. Let's pay attention. So clearly the government cannot be in charge of deciding for themselves whether or not they should indict themselves on criminal charges or not. How you going to leave that? How you going to leave the decision to incite a criminal charge to the criminal? He'll never put himself in trouble. It'll never happen. This is precisely why we have so much corruption in our government. It is the duty of the people to stand up as faithful and wise stewards. This is in the Bible, Luke 12:42. And bring the servants who think themselves as master back into subjection. What happened in Egypt? When them presidents start getting out of hand, all the people come together and go straight to the government center. What happened in Europe? Look at Switzerland. The people came together and went straight to the government agents. They went straight to the headquarters. Him down, come down. What about the people over there in Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan? They went straight up there and took that man out of his throne. Because the people are well informed. See, you get to America, everybody ignorant. They don't even know we don't even know what the Constitution is. If you go ask a random person, what is the preamble to the Constitution? They have no idea. They don't know. How you going to enforce something you don't know? You can't. So then the police ask you a certain number of questions and you answer the questions. Gotcha, bitch. Gotcha. What you going to do now? Ain't nothing you can do. You done trapped yourself because you don't know. What you don't know will kill you. We've been talking about this all the time. Trouble is easy to get into, hard to get out of. How many grandparents told them that? Told you that? Why? Because you don't know. You don't know what's going on. You see? So common law is common sense. The question each jurist must ask himself, is there an injured party? There's a common law principle that states that for there to be a crime, there must first be a victim. This is the common law court. Don't you know that most of us, when we go into a court downtown, I'm in Pensacola down here, most of us reporting downtown because we got a summons or a warrant for your arrest or whatever the case may be, there's never a victim. Most of us are representing ourselves against the state. The state is never a victim. There's no victim. So how am I in court? What is the issue? What am I trying to decide when nobody's here accusing me of anything? Perspective. The state cannot be the injured party. The state, it is against the rules for the state to say they are the injured party. You have a state representative. The state is never the injured party. Never. Anytime you have the state, somebody say your name versus the state, they're lying. And you can call them out on that. But you got to know how. If you don't know how, if you don't know how to call that out or enforce things, you'll get trampled. Just like most of us do in the court. We go in there scared, we fearful. Come down here and state your name. They, first of all, listen to this stupidity. They call your name out over the loudspeaker, so it's on the record. They call your name out. Then they tell you, come to the podium. Now state your name for the record. So listen to this. In the absence of a victim, mind you now, the state cannot be the injured party. In the absence of a victim, there can be no crime. This is what the grand jurist must discover. The constitutions of most of our states assert that all power is inherent in the people that live in the state, that they may exercise it by themselves in all cases to which they think themselves competent, as in electing their functionaries, executive and legislative, and deciding by a jury of themselves both fact and law. They say that you're supposed to have a jury of your peers. You know who your peers are? That's your community. They know you. That's why you're supposed to have a jury of your community, because they know you. How many times we done went in there, done had court cases, and you go in there and see a jury and it's all these people you ain't never seen a day in your life. And most of them, the opposite skin tone is you, especially when you looking melanated. That's not your community. They don't know your character. So all they can do is go by the illusion that the lawyer perceives or paints, and then they try to make a justified answer off of that illusion because they don't know you. It's a trick. Everything we're doing is all a game. It's a game. And if you don't understand the rules of the game, you're going to lose every time. It's Monopoly. Okay. So, by fact and law, in all judiciary cases in which any fact is involved, or they may act by representatives freely and equally chosen, that it is their right and duty to be at all times armed. It is your right and duty to be armed at all times. To freedom of person, freedom of religion, freedom of property, and freedom of the press. This is Thomas Jefferson's letter to John Cartwright, June 5th, 1824. Trial jurors. It is the duty of the jury to execute justice and sometimes mercy. Their decisions cannot be second guessed. This is why they always want that biased jury of your peers, because once they make a decision, you can't go against that decision. It stands as law. The jury shall have the right to determine the law and the fact. This is why it's important for a jury of your community peers to be your jury, because they know your character. They know who you are. They are expected to be just and truthful in their decision making based upon knowing who you are. If I have 12 people that have never met me in a day in my life, are they going to show me mercy? And they're biased against my position. Are they going to show me mercy? They'll never show me mercy. If I go before a jury right now and all the jury is white folks, they're never going to show me mercy. This is not the way this works. It's a game. And if you don't understand the game that's being played, you're going to be lost to the game. Jury of your peers is people that know you. Peers are people that see you on a regular basis. Let's look up the definition of peer. Let's look it up. Remember now, these words have multiple meanings. Now listen, peers. Okay, peer, third person present, is peers. Okay, the first definition says to look keenly or with difficulty at someone or something. Meaning, these people to look closely, keenly, closely, to look into a thing. So, the people around you that see you every day look at you with a keen eye. They see you all the time. So they know you deeply. You get what I'm saying? That is a peer. They're able to look deeply inside of you because they know you. You see? Oh, that's not his character. He doesn't act like that. He's never committed that type of action towards anybody. Or they can say, you know what? He do get down like that. I do not. This ain't even no surprise for us to be up in here with him having them type of charges, because this just the type of stuff he do. But your peers know who you are. Okay? The second definition says, be just visible. The two towers peer over the roofs, meaning they're just showing themselves barely over the roof. Remember now, we talked about language last time. Okay? This is the archaic definition. To come into view, to appear, for yet of many of your horsemen peer or come into visibility. Okay? An alternate definition says to look closely with earnest. Only the people that know you on a deeper level are going to look closely into your life. Okay? If I live in Lincoln Park, you pulling somebody out of Gulf Breeze, way out of a neighborhood in Gulf Breeze, I ain't never crossed paths, never met with this person. That is not my peer. Why are they here? They don't know me. You see what I'm saying? These are the rules that we created for ourselves before all the foreigners came to these shores. That's why they make so much sense in a common sense world. You see, the only real type of court that we have in this country is what's called the Queen's Court. And you're watching the Queen's Court on TV. Judge Judy is the way the court is supposed to be in reality. A victim, a defendant, and a judge. And the jury of your peers. Those are the guests that they bring on the show. That's the jury of their peers because they know these people. You see what I'm saying? That is a true Queen's Court. Go into a court of law, ask them, are you operating in the Queen's Court? No. When you go into a court of law, see if you look at that flag and see if it's not surrounded by gold hemming and gold fringes. And ask them, are you not existing within an admiralty court system? And see how they act. Admiralty. We're going to get there. Okay? So the reality is that we are not operating in a Queen's Court of Law. We are operating inside of what's called a tribunal. And if you understand the laws of a tribunal is not the same type of environment as a state court or a grand jury court. It is not the same environment. Okay? Within the concepts of a tribunal, you get what's called a state representative. And you get laws or you get paperwork that says Luke versus the state of Florida. There's no injured party. There's no victim. There's an invisible entity claiming to have a problem with me that I can't see, touch, taste, or smell in the public reality, so therefore it doesn't exist. But then I foolishly go in there and act like it's real. So you don't understand the rules of the game. You see? Now, this is going to take time to get through. I'm just letting y'all know that right now because these are normally concepts that we're not taught this. Dang, I forgot my water. We're not taught these things. You see what I'm saying? We're not taught this. So because we're not taught these things, it's going to take a little bit of time to unlearn and relearn because we're never taught these things. That's on purpose. You got to go to school and be a lawyer, and then you have to pass what's called the bar in order to be inducted into rulership of under the British Crown. And see, we don't understand. You have to be inducted under rulership of the British Crown. You see? It's all a scam. Legal representation is not necessary unless you going to go sue somebody or some type of class action, this is that and third. You don't need representation. You only need to know who you are and where you stand in spite of all this. So you got to understand something. The common law came from Europe. This is a Moorish design. The common law system. This is only the system that came after the system of my ancestors. See, because my ancestors were not brought over here on ships. They was already here. So they already had their own rule base, which had to be dismantled by the government trying to take over. So they implemented the common law, which is something like what they have, but it's not the same thing. It can still be changed. It can still evolve into something different. You see? So we're taking these people, we're taking and pulling these people down. We've created an English language to implement these people into our commercial way of life, okay? And the reason that we're implementing these people into our commercial way of life is to begin to strip them of their wealth. This is the process of stripping said group of people, African American, Black, Indigenous, all these things are the same. Negro, Black Indians, Blackfoot Indian, Aborigine before anybody else came over here trying to claim that they was an Indian, but they all lying. They all Asians. Anybody coming over here calling themselves Mexicans, but they're all lying because they're all Asians. You see, because we don't understand what's going on right up under our nose. We don't get it. So everybody is doing all this stuff to us. Look around Pensacola. How many taco trucks and taquerías and all this stuff you see popping up everywhere? Using the minority chamber of commerce, which was predicated for black people before that. And we had no knowledge of it. Only a few of us had knowledge of it. And the few of us that had knowledge of it sequestered the knowledge unto themselves. You see? Meanwhile, we have one representative for the Hispanic group down at the Chamber of Commerce, and they are going out all over the land helping their people establish all type of businesses out here. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves. And we'll sit up here and let these folks give us these awards and ceremonies and all this fake prestige, and we're not getting anything done for our people. We're being pushed out of where we are. Where we're supposed to be, we're being pushed out by other people's rules, other people's games and tactics, tricks. Not understanding the future tense of finance and economics. We don't understand. And we set those things in motion. Those things, a lot of those systems were created because of the way our minds work and the way wealth was with our people. These foreigners came to this land and called this the land of gods. The land that flows with milk and honey. America. Not America uncivilized, America uninhabited, America. No, none of those things. We were already here. We were already civilized. We were already wealthy. We didn't need the rest of the world. The rest of the world needed us. Now we've come to a place where we're beginning to turn our mind off to understanding our hierarchy. We go out here and chase dollars just to try to look bigger than the next man. Talk down to the next man that look like us. Why you ain't talking down to the other nations? Oh, I won, so my people finna win by any means necessary. Don't you understand the setback that our people have had to deal with? Now you got those people that come forward and say, it's been all this time, we need to let that go and let that go. How you gonna let that go? Them same people telling you to let that go have no knowledge and understanding. They just as ignorant as the man that's drinking on the street corner. They equally as ignorant. And they think they winning. They think they have enough gall inside of themselves to say we need to just let that go because they're winning now. You understand? But the man drinking under the tree is more free than the person that's going to work and working 9 to 5 and going and reporting to a college every day. He's way more free than you, and you don't even understand how. You don't get it. You're trying to be more like them. You see? In order to leave your people and dismiss your people and act like you're not a part of what the world has deemed as bad for your people. Very few of us go get what we need and then come back and try to teach our people. It's very few. Very few. Most of us are out for self. We become a selfish group. This is the same group that walked around the walls of Jericho and worked together and blew trumpets and the building fell. Who you think that's talking about? The very same people now that when we see each other walking down the street, we cutting our eyes to make sure we ain't going to attack each other. It's the same people on two totally different ends of the spectrum. When we was blowing trumpets around the walls of Jericho, we worked together. We worked as a nation. Now we got all these big fancy houses going up in our neighborhoods. And we avoid those. But we'll run up in the house of somebody look like us, though. That's with the quickness. We do that with the quickness. Turn on each other. You know what I'm saying? Get jealous of one another. We do that with the quickness. Hate on each other. We do that with the quickness. This is our way of life now. This is just what we do. Don't even know why we do it. And that's due to ignorance. We have no understanding of what's going on around us. So inside our small, finite little world, as small as it has become, this is the way we feel we're supposed to behave. You know, this is the way we feel we're supposed to lead out with everybody look like us. Hatred. Let me take advantage of you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take advantage of you. Oh, I know you got love for me because you trying to look out for me, and I'm going to take advantage of that. This is the way we treat our people. Man, I get treated so dirty, man. You don't understand. I'll be out here doing work for folks. Everybody think they supposed to take advantage of you. Everybody that look like me. Them the quickest ones to try to take advantage of me for doing work that's, I'm hooking them up tight. You know what I'm saying? Like, but then let me go to the other nations. What I say my price is, that's what it is. They're learning the rules of the game and how to act in honor so that they can continue growing. They learn that from you, from your ancestors, not from you, because now all we know is destruction. Your ancestors taught these people how to act in honor. Now those very same nations that had the bus riot with the dogs and beating black folks and spitting on us when we first started trying to integrate the schools, those very same people are now the most honorable people that you will meet. The most humble people that you will meet, them very same devils. The ones that was lynching black people in the South and tying black people to horses and ripping them apart. Those same devils are now the most honorable people that you meet. We sticking up for them. That's what we do. Ignorant. We don't realize what we're doing. We don't understand. We don't know how to speak life into each other. Our women are starting to understand. They get it. You know, our women speak life into each other, but even that agenda is being used against them. We're weak. Even when we think we're strong, we're weak. You see, this is what happens when you turn your world over to another set of hands. I refuse. Even if I got to stay here and be alone, bro, I'm going to figure out a way for me to be the fullest identity of myself. How the hell am I living alive today and I have no representation of my ancestral base? Meanwhile, let an African come over here and see if he ain't wearing all these different prints and colors that come from his tribe. Let an Asian come over here and see if you don't see his Asian Oriental, the Buddha man and the little green cat, the emerald and all this other type of stuff, the dragon symbols, stuff from their culture, their way of life, their ancestors. The Romans, same thing. I mean, they're not even Romans no more. Russians, same thing. Germans, same thing. The French, same thing. The Finnish, the same thing. Everybody has their culture from their ancestral base that they can bring to the forefront and utilize. These men walk around with these skirts on from Ireland. That's culture. What about black people? What we got? What we got? What we do? You see? Where's your culture at? Look out into the world. You're looking at it. Look at all the other nations. You're looking at your culture. We don't understand how great we are. And I know I'm getting off topic because I want to read you all about the law, but we don't understand how great we are as a people. And we don't understand why we're being chased so much. If we're really so bad, if black folks is really so bad, and we're really so broke and all this other type of stuff they say about us and broke down and beat down, then leave us alone. Why is the police ripping and running down through our neighborhoods for? If we're really that bad, then just leave us alone. We'll destroy ourselves, right? Oh, no. See, that's what you don't understand about God consciousness. That's what you don't understand about the God genetic code and DNA. We can never destroy ourselves. Even when they try to give us a system to bring us down, we still figure out how to use the system to win. This is the nature of our people. We make a way out of no way. Nobody else can do that. They look to us for the answers. Whatever we doing, that's what they finna go do. We dance like this, they finna go dance like that. We talk like this, they finna go talk like that. We're reading this, we're eating this, they're about to go read that and eat that. We are setting the tone for the world. The world is our culture. The whole thing. The whole thing is our culture. The entire world is our culture, Black America. And until we realize that, we're always going to be playing this bullshit game that we playing as if we're underneath. Yet everybody look to you for the next step to take in their life. How many times I done turn on YouTube to hear some white woman talking about go back to your country as if she was this the place that they traveled from to go where they going. I say, lady, if these people, man, listen, you got to understand something. We are living in the last days. So everything seems like it's a reach. If you're not using your mind's eye and your soul spark to navigate through this world, you're going to be lost and burnt up with everybody else, all the other nations. We are beginning to match the frequency of the other nations. God said, you shall have no other gods before me. This is in the Bible. So how dare you lower your frequency to that of those around you, trying to fit in? What are you doing? Don't you know they all watching you? Why are you trying to fit in? I don't understand. What is there to fit into? Make it make sense. I done had black people come to me, man, I wish I was white. What? What are you talking about? You can't know about yourself. You can't know about yourself and say, you can't know about yourself genetically and talk like that. What are you talking about? Most of them wish they was you. They're going to tanning salons. Think about it. Sitting out in the sun all damn day. You ain't got to do that. You sit out in the sun 15 minutes, you get darker. They trying to achieve your normal hue as if you was in the snow with no sun. They trying to achieve that. They got to go sit in the sun for 24 hours just to get a slight tinge. You see, we can't see anymore. We're skewed like bad. Like we don't even understand that in the springtime the trees start getting darker. How many of y'all look out there and see that the trees are getting darker? Don't you know the trees are melanated with chlorophyll? With carbon? How many of y'all took the time to look at the fur of your dogs, especially if they live outside, in the summer versus the winter? The summer coat is darker. Look at your cat. The summer coat is darker. It's melanin. Look at the birds. They get darker versus in the winter, they get lighter. That's melanin. These are rules of melanin. You see what I'm saying? We don't even understand where we are. We don't get it. We don't understand. We are the only melanin that is inside of this ecosphere that is standing separate from the rest of the melanin. We trying to get closer to the concrete and away from nature. Now, black people want to be in the AC all the time. They don't even want to sweat no more. It's nasty for a black person to sweat. Don't you know that is a buildup of toxins inside of your body? To remain inside of the AC in the dark, always inside of a box and in a cube. You never go outside. You never sweat. You never exfoliate. Don't you know that you're building up toxins? And the number one cause for death in our country is people drowning on their own mucus, their own buildup of toxin, because you won't go outside in the sun. That you too good for that now. Now we too good to sweat. Our grandparents and ancestors didn't have a choice, and they ate pork, and they ate this, and they ate that, but they would sweat the toxins out. That's how they lived so long. They would sweat out the toxin. It's time for us to understand who we are and where we're standing, where we're sitting. You see, you can't begin to even talk alchemical language if you don't even know who you are and where you're standing at. You have no idea what type of games the other nations are playing with your mind to keep you in this submissive role so you never grow out of that place. What happened the first time they freed the slaves? They thought that our people was going to die off. We had no resources. They have been, man, we went to wherever we could find ourselves to go, and we built that up into a nation. Black Wall Street, banks, schools, churches, this, all these different things. And they got jealous. The other nation got jealous. And destroyed it. I'm not just talking about Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm also talking about the Devil's Punch Bowl. I'm talking about Lake Lanier. I'm talking about New York. You don't understand. Chicago, these places, this happened all over this landmass. The jealousy of the creation of the Aboriginal people. $50 million African-American people in this country, so-called African-American. You're not that. 50 million, and you don't have no clue who you are. You don't even see that you outnumber everybody. They all banding together. All these nations are all banding together, calling themselves white, so it seems like they outnumber you. It's a lie. That's why it's important to read the history. Therefore, you cannot be deceived by the lie. This is why it's such a scramble to get your children lost in this digital world where they're reducing the internet sources. So you go on the internet searching for something, it's only going to give you a few sites, and then it repeats them and repeats. So you're not even out there in the world like you thought you were when it comes to the internet, like we used to be. You're not out there no more. It's controlled, and you're subscribing your children to that controlled environment. So they're only going to learn what they're told to learn, and that's it. Same thing, the same programming that we had in school. Only learn this. The teacher say, well, this generally says this, but just do the handout. Do the handout. Just do this. Just read this book and do me an essay. What about all the other books? Why can't I pick a book I want to learn from? No, you follow the program. And now the program has become digitized. So your children will never see that there's an issue unless you teach them. They'll think that this is normal. The same way we did coming up writing cursive and doing contracts. We thought it was normal for us to go out here and go apply for a loan and go apply for a credit card and all these other different things, not realizing that both of those financial instruments is only predicated to your Social Security account at the Federal Reserve. And the bank has the codes to gain access to your account at the Federal Reserve. You see, all of this stuff is important. And because we're learning this, we're beginning to learn now, scramble around. We got to change up the codes. We got to change this. We got to create a federal digital coin. It's a scam, yo. It's a trick. It's a trick. But when you have the majority of the people believing in the trick is real. You had a majority of the people that will sit up there and take a traffic ticket from a police officer, not realizing that their right to travel is never to be impeded by anybody according to the common law and the Constitution. Nobody can interfere with your right to travel. And you also have the right to put any type of placard on the back of your car that you want to. They can't tell you what, but if you go down there and you register the vehicle, now it don't belong to you no more. It belongs to the state. So the state says, you better have this, and you better have that, and you better have this. And most people, because they're afraid, what do? They go get all the requirements of the state, not knowing that the law says nobody can impede your right to travel. You can travel wherever you want to go. It's only if you believe in it, then it becomes real. And because you're choosing it, nobody can interfere. You're choosing it. It's only an option. It's a privilege. And a privilege is an offer. You don't have to accept it. If I offer you a cupcake and you don't eat cupcakes, then you have the right to say no, right? Okay, let's put this in perspective. So if I come to you and I say, I'm going to offer you a driver's license, you're going to be like, nah, I don't want the driver's license. Okay, so because we have to be prepared to deal with whatever consequences of our actions, right? So you say, nah, I'm cool. I don't want the driver's license. I'm good. I don't want it, right? So now what? Well, anytime that you're operating a vessel or a vehicle, and you're using the public roadways, it is assumed that you're operating in commerce. That is why the police have the right to pull you over. Because according to the law or the rules, most of the people or everybody that's operating in the public is underneath the government jurisdiction. So you're an employee of the federal government, okay, operating in commerce. Now, how come the Amish don't get pulled over? Because their private vessel, for the most part, I don't know about today. I think they upgraded a little bit. But for the most part, their private vessel was a horse and buggy. You see? And that was agreed upon to not need to follow the rules of the state. Now they drive cars around, you know, stuff like that, but it's still their own set of rules. They're within their own nation. You see? So the government codes and rules don't apply to the Amish. Who else do they not apply for? State nationals. Most of us don't even know that type of status level exists. To become a state national, that puts you outside of the jurisdiction of the federal government. Because now you're telling them that, you know what? I am a natural living person that belongs to this state. I live in this state. I don't live in Washington, D.C. because Washington, D.C. are supposed to be the only employees of the federal government. This is why it's important to understand the rules. Only in Washington, D.C. are there employees of the federal government. Everybody else is contracted in through faulty paperwork and faulty defective contracts. Coercion. Oh, ma'am, you want these you want this insurance for your child? You want these food stamps for your child? You want this welfare for your child? Give us a name. And women don't play with it. They don't went down there and say, you know what, I don't know who my baby daddy is. They ain't worried about all that extra stuff. They just want to say, I don't know who he is. Let me see what's going to happen. Oh, you don't know who he is? No, I have no idea who he is. They still get the benefits. It's a trick. It's a game. So they first introduce it to you, see how you're going to act, see how you're going to react. Oh, man, they're accepting it. Oh, you can't live in this house and have a man here with you. Ain't nobody question it. Everybody just accepted it. That's how bad they needed somewhere to live, that we turn off. Because we've given all our wealth to these other nations and we think that they're going to help us get it back. It don't work like that. It's called racism, meaning that I want my people to win. See what I'm saying? I want my people to win. It's called racism. They're not going to give you anything. They're going to make it hard. They're going to follow your rules. What are the rules of the Hebrew Israelite? The rules are you sell something to your brother at a third of the price. Any other nation, you multiply it times 3. Look what they're doing to us now. Buying our property for dirt cheap, right? Off our hands, and then turn around and maximizing it 3-4 times the amount. If we come back and get it, it's maximized. You see? But the underhanded and the backhand deals that happen between themselves, shaking hands and all these different deals that's happening behind closed doors that we know nothing about. All we know is when we step to the front, the price 3 times the amount. It's a trick. It is a trick. And it's important. It is extremely important that we learn the trick. We are terribly doing ourselves wrong. We're doing ourselves wrong, and we don't understand it, but we're doing it to ourselves. This is why nobody can interfere. Nobody can interfere when you're doing this to yourself. Nobody can interfere when you're doing it to yourself. You can't raise a hand and say, save me. You know, you're doing it to yourself. Give me my reparations. I mean, but who's the parents of all these mixed kids running around out here? You're doing it to yourself. You're destroying yourself. You're destroying yourself. And there's nobody else to blame for that destruction except you and me. They put the guns in our neighborhoods. We picking up the guns, the jits picking up the guns, and then they turn around and they pointed at the older. They pointed at those that they consider to be enemies of the ops. All of a sudden, we had this whole wave of everybody got ops. All of a sudden, everybody got ops. Like, come on, bro. Shit, weak, man. It's weak. Every generation gets smarter but weaker. Every generation gets smarter but weaker. We're living in the era of weakness, and we think we're strong. How many of these guys walk around out here, chip on their shoulder, ready to blast at anything? A mouse can squeak. They're ready to blast. You scary. It's weakness. Weakness. The other nations had to come to your forefathers with those pew-pews. You feel me? They had to come to your forefathers with guns and cannons and this, and the third. And your forefathers had tools and bare hands. And now you can't leave the house unless you got it on you. You're weak. You're weak. You become a victim to the technology we created. We created and didn't have a need for it. Go back and read the Moorish history on inventions. We created gunpowder. We just didn't need it. We had no use for it. You see? And the other nations picked it up and decided to use it to blast projectiles. And there you go. You see? Because they had no way to defeat our nation. They didn't know how. So they had to use things that we created against ourselves. Isn't that what we're dealing with today? Go back and read Plato's description of Atlantis and who was there and where Atlantis is and who was living in Atlantis and who was living in Atlantis. Go read the Mein Kampf from Hitler and see what he says about the black people in America. We're missing it. We right outside of where we need to be. And we throwing day parties all the time and nighttime parties. This is as far as our community reaching out. Throwing parties. No? Throwing parties, man. D, what's good with you, bro? I ain't want to wait to the end, but I just now saw your comment or whatever. You know what I'm saying? This is what we do. You know what I'm saying? This is what we doing to ourselves. All the time, we doing this to ourselves. Leading our own self down a path of destruction. Following the world. That's what we're doing now. We're following the world. So how can we tell our children not to? Can't. How can we tell them not? Our children, man, listen, going to go get this money is a trick. You need to start planting crops. You start raising your own livestock and going to buy land to farm it and doing stuff like this. Don't chase money because it's a trick. Utilize your God-given right. We don't do that. You know, this is not the way we teaching them. They're having to go learn it from somebody else. Most of them are befriending the other nations to learn. Is that a blessing? Yeah, true enough, it could be a blessing. You know, but what is it doing for the entire populace? Not very much. Bible says that it's going to be 144,000. Let me see something right quick. Hold on. I just had something come to my head. Hold on. Let me see. Do some math right quick. Hold on. What is times 13? 144,000 times 0.13. Okay, I think my math is a little bit off. But I was trying to see what percentage of our population is 144,000. 50 million. And that has multiple meanings. It's time for us to rise up, man. The Kundalini is forcing itself up. A lot of people dying because the Kundalini energy is trying to rise and it's too much. It's too intense. You know what I'm saying? Because when it rises, it's going to force out the toxins. It's going to force out the negative aspect from the sickness from the subconscious mind and the sickness from the mind of the heart, the sickness from the mind of the brain. See, it's going to erase those sicknesses because it's there to elevate the person. That is a higher potential, a higher perspective. So when these things come online, when people start to get sick from purging and doing all this other kind of stuff, we don't understand. We don't have no information or no knowledge base to understand what is going on with us. So we go running to the other nations for help. And what do? They kill you. Look at the whole C-19. They was killing people. What you think? All them people just passed away from some random disease just popped up out of nowhere. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on now. Let's be honest. You know, they were destroying people, primarily us. When we went to the hospital, our elders and all these people that our loved ones going to the hospital, they didn't come back. You know, one day they good, next day all of a sudden they deathly ill. One day in between. Come on, man. You got to look at what's real. But see, when you bring it down to, and it's sad that I have to say this, but like I come to my people and I say this type of stuff, you know what I get? Blank stares. Oh, okay. Oh, man. You know? I'm like, bro, they killing your people. Like, stop sending your people to the hospital, bro. And learn how to deal with herbs. Learn how to do this. Learn how to do that. Stop sending your people to them hospitals. Oh, okay. Okay. Man, Granny's sick, man. Hey, send her to the hospital. Now Granny on the respirator. When all Granny had to do was just take some herbs to clear her system out. Fast for a couple of days so that the body can eat those cells that are no longer replicating properly and take the herbs to clean your system. Get your pH up. This is melanin principle. You can't get melanin principle at Sacred Heart. They're not going to give you melanistic principle at UWF, at West Florida Hospital. They're not going to give you that. You won't get melanistic principle in the hospital. It won't work that way. Technology doesn't work based on melanistic principle unless it's extracting it. It's time we grew up, man. It's just time to know more, time to know different, you know. I reach for my own children, you know, and they listen to me as much as they can, and we have conversations about stuff, but, you know, I mean, I understand that they're basically going to go as far as their mother's mind. I understand. You know, I get it. So, dad, I mean, in those type of situations, it's like, okay, you know, I'll talk to dad, but, you know, dad be on that other stuff, like, you know what I mean? So, it's normally the mother's potential or the mother's mindset that our children carry. And look at our women. They're being compromised. You don't know how to deal with your men. You let an LGBTQ infiltrate your community and they taking over everything. Now they got you thinking that there's some plight that you got against your men that is not real. We're delusional. You know what I'm saying? And there's no knowledge base or complete understanding of self, even though we got all this self-love going on. If you got all this self-love going on, tell me about the Native American slave trade. Tell me about the Indian groups that were pushed out on the Trail of Tears, the Black Indians. You don't know. So how the hell are you self-loving? You don't even know who you are. Somebody come forward to tell you who you are, you're going to tune this out. Most of y'all too cool to listen to this. It's too cool. Oh, I'm already in my group. You know what I'm saying? I already got my circle. I already got my tribe. Listen, this I will be talking. I already got my tribe, so I don't need to hear that other mess. Man, your tribe, they rob them Africans robbing you blind. You don't even know it. You don't even know it. You don't understand how that nation is set up. You don't get it. They're going to give you the information they want you to know, just like school. It's the same thing. Give you the information they want you to know. Then you're going to take that information and maximize it, just like Christianity. I'm going to give you the information I want you to know. However, I'm not going to tell you that the royalty, the black royalty that once ruled Europe, have gone into a religious status and now have created the rules that you are now following. So it's still an infiltration from another nation. You don't get it. But I have people that are posing, tag me and stuff, and you know what I'm saying, my God and my Jesus and my this and my that. I'm like, man, you ain't got to do all that, bro. You ain't got to just prove me wrong. That's all I need. Just show me how I'm wrong. Don't go with rhetoric. Don't do that. There's no need for that. And my God saved me. I feel you, but at the same time, show me where I'm wrong. I'm not wrong at all. There is no wrong. The only thing that's wrong is how you live in your life. That's what's wrong. That's why our people not growing. It takes a community. Look at the Hispanic people out here now. You got the men doing construction. They all working. You try to talk to them. I say, bro, listen. You got that one that they always use, that token Hispanic guy, right? And he's the one that does all the talking for everybody, right? But then you turn around and you go talk to one of the workers. Hey, man, me don't know, man. Me don't know me. Me know. How the hell is you in America on a job site where people speak nothing but English and you don't know nothing about nothing? Come on, man. You know what I'm talking about. You understand what I'm saying to you. You know what's real. They know what's up, but they're taught to behave this way. You see? Taught to behave this way. Then they get all the jobs. Now you see they got all the construction jobs. Go look at damn near every construction site. Go look. Everywhere. Mexicans. Then where do you put the women? You put the women in the fast food, you put them in the corporate jobs, and you let them become management. You let them become, they're going to take over. Now the next thing you're going to do, what do you do after that? You hire all your people. So if I'm working at Whataburger and I'm Mexican and I'm a female, I'm going to keep my head down and I'm going to work hard. Next thing you know, I'm going to get a promotion. Then I'm going to move up again. Then I'm going to move up again. Then when I become the manager, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to fill that whole restaurant with my people. So all that money that Whataburger's paying out for the payroll is all going to one family or two families. So they're taking all that money into one household. Why can't we do that? Where do you think they learned that from? How to work together. These are the same people that we talked about that was always at war in their nation. England fighting against China. China fighting against India. India fighting against this one. All within their nation, they was always at war. So working together, where did they learn that concept when it came to, see, we don't ask the right questions. You're going to learn it from the people that was already doing it, just the same way you learn everything else from the people that's already doing it. It's the same thing. There is nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. It can only be replicated and copied. Copied. Where are these people copying from? They're not going to let you know. Everybody done took the spin off of this information and done created their own little lifestyle out of it. You see? But who taught who civilization? Who came across the water first? Who built the first boat? You got to understand all this because it's important. It's important to know because then that'll tell you who's really on welfare. Okay, who's really here looking for a handout and who is completely disadvantaged, overwhelmed by the rest of the world coming across the shores, coming across the borders to take everything. This is what's going on in our country because our people still ain't realized who we are. We don't know, so we ain't got nothing to stand up for. We won't stand up because we don't know. Man, that's crazy. Man, that's crazy. Because we don't know. So we get left without. That's your choice. It's what you're choosing. You're choosing to be left behind. You're choosing to be left out. You're choosing that because you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. Do you think law is really that complicated? Do you think to speak the language of common law is really, it's not that complicated. You got to understand something. Listen to this. You had a few politicians or a few government leaders early on, when the government was first created or infiltrated or taken over, however you want to look at it, it was only a few of them. Look at Django, okay? Go, not Django, but Django. Go back to that movie Django, okay? The government representative was the white man that Jamie Foxx was with. He was a government representative. He went onto other people's land to fulfill paperwork that came from D.C., which means the people's land he was going on, they had no contract with Washington, D.C. whatsoever. Monsieur Candy, he had no contract with Washington, D.C. He was the lord of the land. So in order for D.C. to infiltrate, they had to gain his permission. You understand? They had to send a representative out to gain permission to come onto this man's land. Now, what they're not telling you is Monsieur Candy is supposed to be Aboriginal. He's supposed to look like me. Then you're going to understand, because the people that look like me were employing the whites that came from other nations. See, we were the rulership. Every black beach in Florida was controlled and owned by black people before it was taken. Genocide. You got to know the history. If you don't know the history, you won't know the value that you hold, that the rest of the world is sucking out of you like a straw. It won't make any sense. So I'm just sitting up here just talking gibberish because everybody I'm talking to don't know. And they refuse to know. And most of them refuse to learn or refuse to understand what's going on in order to make a stand. It takes people to make a movement. How did the gays get gay marriage put in? Because they all came together and went to the government and said, change this law. We put all our money together. How did the Hispanics and the Mexicans start getting rules and stuff changed for them out west? Because they all put their money together and they had one representative, went to the Capitol. Do this. This is what we want. Where's that at for our people? Where's that at? Where is it? We don't do that. Martin Luther King was misunderstood. That's why they allowed it. That Million Man March, it was from misunderstanding. Once after the Million Man March, and he started to understand what was really going on in the country, they killed him. If we go ask for everything back that's owed to us, this country will go bankrupt. They owe everything that's in deficit is what's owed to our people. Talking about world and all that, borrowed from the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve borrowed from us. The Federal Reserve stole from us. So every deficit that America holds, it is owed to our people. You want to clear the books? Pay slavery. Pay our people off. You want to clear the books? Pay us off. Everything that's owed from our ancestors, everything that's owed. But you got to tell the truth. If you don't tell the truth, it won't make no sense. Both ways, up here and in the pocketbook. You got to tell the truth. This is why Trump was coming forward in certain ways. This is why our prices are so inflated, because everybody's expecting for us to get what's ours. This is the season for it. But if the people have no knowledge base on where they came from, who they are, where they're living, and what they're doing with their life, that money going to come, it's going to go right back into the hands of the nations that stole it from you. And now you're going to get to them legally. They ain't going to take it illegally. Why do you think they taking down all these statues? They don't want your children to know what they did. They're going to disconnect the knowledge of slavery and what they did to your ancestors. They don't want your children to know that. We're in a new day. A new game is being played. So they ripping down statues, acting like they doing us a favor. They ain't doing us no favor. Look how black folks acting. Yeah, pull it down, because we don't realize. They just erasing their connection to the history of the past. The same thing Adolf Hitler was doing with them Jews, to erase the bloodline connection. They're trying to erase the history so they can rewrite it. It's a lie. What your children gonna believe? Who is Michael Jordan? Who is that? Our babies now, they don't, what reason would they talk to them about LeBron James? That is Michael Jordan. You see what I'm saying? You understand? And we know how that's been fabricated and faked out. We know. Stacking teams and doing all this extra stuff. Jordan didn't do that. So we know the integrity that we had as a people earlier on. We no longer have that integrity. Look at Webby. I seen a picture of Webby dressed like Aaliyah. Mother got on a tank top with a halter top and high-waisted drawers. I say, man, come on, man. That's Webby. Bro, come on, bro. We're living our life for $1. No integrity, no morals, no type of standard when it comes to the way the world perceives us. You feel me? We ain't got no standard. It's just whatever. I'm trying to get paid. You don't even know what that means. What the hell is getting paid when they're giving you $1, but it's only worth 40 cents? What is getting paid? You working 3 times just to get that dollar complete. You got to work 3 times as hard just to get that dollar complete. Because you don't realize that $1 is only worth 40 cents. So now you out here scrambling, trying to collect as many as you can, but why is it that I done collected all this money and it's only worth 1/3 of what I have? Exactly. Because you're a fool. That's not money. That's not wealth. See? You collecting that, but are you flipping it? Or are you just paying your bills with it? Are you helping other people like you're supposed to in your community? Or are you just showing off to your folks? You see what I'm saying? Are you lying? Acting like you really on when you really not? It's a lot of that going on. Why lie? Tell the truth. I ain't got no money right now. Hell, how many of us out here ain't got no money? How many people went to that all-white party Saturday and now they broke? Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? We being honest, you got to be honest. That's real. When we start being real with ourselves, that is self-love. Being real with yourself, that's self-love. You know, not reaching out here into this digital world to get a whole bunch of people to agree with some nonsense. Or they don't really know you, they lust after you, or they're beta males, or they're insignificant people in your reality. If you was to meet them people in the reality, they'd be totally insignificant. You wouldn't care what they got to say. But because they on co-signing the BS, oh, now Facebook is valuable. The digital world is valuable to me. Man, it ain't, man. Shit back, bro. Only the people that know you can tell you anything about you. That's not very many people. It's not supposed to be. You feel me? Everybody's not going to take the time to get to know you. That's not the way we're set up to be. You can't know everybody in the world. It's impossible. It's impossible. Your core group, your community is supposed to know you better than anybody. And now our community is online. So what's happening out here? We're being robbed blind. As usual. So, dang. Okay, I apologize. I was trying to read out this book, but it looked like I got a little sidetracked. You know what I'm saying? But it's actually time for me to close. I don't even feel like closing yet. Amazing. So I hope somebody got something from that. You know what I'm saying? This is me talking. I had no idea what I was going to talk about. And as usual, the Spirit takes it and run with it. Because we are totally missing ourselves. We're losing ourselves. All this self-love and we losing ourselves. We're losing ourselves. You understand? Women don't want to be corrected. Can't be corrected. Oh, but let another nation sit in. Kevin Samuels, they wanted him dead and buried. Now some little white girl telling all these black women about themselves and they sitting there quiet as a mouse, listening. Amazing. It's weird, man. People are weird. Weird. And especially us. We're weird. We don't even see what we're doing to ourselves. It's so weird. If it's not popularized or if it people that you know what I'm saying, making something bigger than what it is, it's so weird. The only group of people jumping up to get robbed blind, we go running to get robbed blind. Like, it's weird. As soon as we get a paycheck, we eagerly going to give it to everybody else. Give it away. Go to the gas station, fill up your car. Some Indian man looking at you. You see? We become a very weird people. Weird. No bearings. Are we going north? Are we going west? Where we going? South? East? Which way we headed? So Dick Gregory used to be like, one day. So I'm gonna say the same thing. One day. One day I ain't gonna be up here talking this mess no more and be someone living my life, y'all. That's real. I only do this because this is what I was predicated to do. To give the perspective. You know? So, like, share, subscribe to this, you know what I'm saying? If you're on YouTube, like, blast it out, like, you know what I'm saying? Because we need each other. Free my dog. You know? Jamal Rashad. You know, one day at a time. You know what I'm saying? We need more leadership in our communities, man. That's real. You know, not just placeholders. You know what I'm saying? We actually need leadership. We need somebody that's actually down there making moves for us, like, and then bringing it to us, the information, like, yo, y'all go do this because this is gonna do this. This is gonna protect your house, and this is gonna do this and do that, right? We need that. We don't have that. You know, we don't have that. We need that. But the people got to put that person up there. You know what I'm saying? Person can't just show up and say, I'm this. Nah, because we done tried that. And all it does is take and help the other nations take more advantage of us. It's weird, isn't it? The people that seem to go into those positions just help the other nations take more advantage of us. It's weird. Amazing. So, but anyway, yo, it's love, man. You know what I'm saying? You already know who it is. It's Luke 1817, man, down here with WPM and radio, man. You know, we play more music, but not tonight, though. We ain't playing no music. Oh, wait a minute. Y'all know I can't leave here without, I got to let y'all hear one of my songs. Hold on. So last week I played Am I Wrong? This week, hold on. Let's see what we can do. Hold on. Cellular. All right. All right. Click on up to the Rodecaster Pro. Connected. All right. Let's see. So this is what I'm gonna let y'all go on. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead and play this song, and maybe it'll make sense. All right, here we go. Hold on, because I want y'all to hear this. Hold up. Whee, I want to be whole again. All right, hold on. Wow. I swear, man. Hold on, let me see something here. Let's turn off the Bluetooth completely. I guess I'm gonna be talking again till this thing hooked back up. Hold up, because it was just hooked up, but I guess it's not doing it no more. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let y'all hear this song. I'm just gonna kind of just let it fade out with this music, and after that, then you're gonna be free to go from me. So once I get this working, because I'm not leaving here till it play. There's always something. once I get this working, y'all gonna hear the song. The song is called Whole Again. And I made this song like maybe like a year and a half ago, you know. And so I'm slowly releasing my music a little bit at a time. And all my music is in alignment with the stuff I be talking about. You know what I'm saying? It's always in alignment with everything that I've been talking about. Whenever I make music, I'm only talking to the Most High. So that is something that definitely needs to be understood, that I'm always only talking to the Most High. All right, give me just a second. I want to be whole again. Maybe one day they'll listen. I ain't waiting on them, though. Luke. I want to be whole again. Yeah. I still remember the freedom land. What it looks like. So what is this? We go home. Where are we, people? They won't leave us alone. Descendants of the sun. Why? Where do we go? So we can be whole again. We've been vibrating low. I want to be whole again. I wanna be. When you're done caught wind of a motherfucking vibe, you gotta let that motherfucker slide. Baby girl look good on my motherfucking side. Mini skirt, I'm gripping on the thigh. Real shit, the streets done took all kind of lives. I seen a lot of motherfuckers die. Saying I love you is not with disguise. To hide all the fractures inside. But who are these people? Where's my equal? Painting a picture but don't need the easel. Reality sour like I'm smoking diesel. Pulling my passion up out of my ether. Keep feeding Hakeem like I hang with Moesha. This ain't the story, nigga, this the sequel. Cause stories in, nigga, sequels get deeper. How much I can get better for cheap? I smoke good, I'm commander in chief. Drink good, Hennessy with my reefer. She escalated like a collar or keeper. Yeah, this shit go fast, I call it a sleep. I hit the first 4-7, it's a sweep. Ducked off court side in the bleachers. Fiending for the dick, I call it a tweaker. In this rap shit, I don't see no equal. Yeah, it's facts. It's crazy. Where do we go? So we can be whole again. We've been vibrating low. I want to be whole again. All right. So that's that for today. Everybody, y'all have a good night. And next week we're gonna have a panel on. So y'all stay tuned for that. I'm gonna be with y'all in 2 and 2. It's Luke.